It can be so simple for the San Antonio Spurs. Tonight is the night, draft night. And we know with the number 2 pick who we are targeting and who we are most likely going to get. At 14, though, that's when the conversation comes in, where things can get a little dicey, but it can be so simple on who the Spurs can take. And we're going to talk about it here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys take a spur of the moment to get every Spurs moment by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss all the great content we have coming for you. But let's get right underway. Let's just put it, obviously, conversation, because we have 2 of the first 14 picks, not just 1. The Spurs are taking calls for the number 2 pick, but accordingly, the front office, they want a ridiculous haul, way more than I expect anyone to sign up for. Still, don't be shocked if someone bites. Several GMs track Dylan Harper closely all year and are feeling the pressure to make a big splash. I have that here for this. We are taking Dylan Harper with the number 2 pick in the draft. Like, number 2 will be Dylan Harper. Will we keep that by the end of the night? There's like a 5% chance we don't, because regardless of whoever would be moving up, it would be for Dylan Harper. So it's not like we don't have to take him. We could have a huge splash by the end of the night, just in case, but we're taking Dylan Harper with the number 2 overall pick, so that's underway. But let's go down the other paths for the 14th pick. 2 obvious paths for a perfect NBA draft night. This can be very simple, and it can be. Obviously, it all depends on how people fall and everything of that nature, of course, but it can be very simple. Draft night is here. Spurs have the 2nd pick, as we just talked about here with Dylan Harper. Cooper Flagg going to North Texas. Hopefully we can get him somehow. But Cooper Flagg going to North Texas. San Antonio will come around. They'll get Dylan Harper as a 2nd pick. There are 2 ways I see the Spurs pull off a flawless draft. So obviously first, selecting Harper. No need to consider that. Rutgers point guard, consensus 2nd best player in this draft. We may have entered this offseason thinking that the front office needed to address some shooting with their 1st pick in the draft, but nobody expected to land the number 2 pick. No, we didn't. So things change. You had this kid. Don't look back. We talk after that. Exactly. You get as much talent as possible. It's not a problem to have too much talent. If we're like, man, even if during the season, just for like hypotheticals, like, this Harper, Castle, Fox thing isn't working out, I'm pretty positive Fox we just are getting a deal too, so we wouldn't trade him, but Castle or Harper is going to get the same kind of buzz now as they would have then, or then as they would now. So doesn't matter. We're in no rush to figure out our guards. And if it does work, obviously, we've got 3 super-duper talented players. But the first option is draft Thomas Sorber at 14. Sorber can't really shoot. We understand that. Sorber stats this year. 14.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists. He was shot 53% from the floor, 16 from 3, and 72% from the line. Wasn't great when it came to the shooter, but he is an athletic, strong, NBA body-ready guy who could come in there and truly play a backup big or play even alongside Wemby. You put him at a 5 with Wemby at like a 4 or 5. Like, their position doesn't even really matter, but you have both of them in at the same time to do damage, to do work. But Thomas Sorber, it's hard to pass on him because there is multiple people you could get. You can get Joan Beringer. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, the French big. You could get him there. If Noah Senge falls, you could get someone like Noah Senge. If you wanted to, at this pick, you can possibly maybe trade down a little bit, get a guy like Danny Wolf. There's going to be people in the 2nd round that you're going to be able to get at center as well. There's a lot of pieces and a lot of things that can be maneuvered in this draft this year. There's a lot of big talent. There's just a lot of overall talent. But Thomas Sorber at 14, Georgetown. We know they've produced bigs for their entirety of their tenure as an organization and as a college program. So, kid looks like he may be one of the best players in the country. He should be regarded as maybe one of the top, like a top lottery pick or close to, but probably would had it if he'd gotten hurt. So we're getting a guy who could be regarded as one of the higher prospects in this entire draft. Obviously got hurt, and injuries make you fall a little bit. We saw what happened to Michael Porter Jr. when he was going to be the number 1 overall pick most likely, and then he ended up falling all the way down to the Nuggets, helped him win a championship. Obviously he's been up and down at best sometimes in his career, but he's played well for the Nuggets at points and obviously helped him win a championship. I mean, he averaged 15-9. He averaged 2 blocks and 2 steals before he was sidelined last year. Interest in Thomas. Reportedly, they liked Matt Watch. They liked Porzingis, of course. We saw Josh had put out a video on Porzingis and the possibility because there was so much talk around the Spurs, and literally within 5 minutes, Porzingis was traded. But hey, it is what it is. At this point, you only can go off of what we hear and what we see. But suggest that adding a big next to Wemby, that's what we wanted to do. That's what all the fans want. That's what we want here at Spurs Digest, another guy alongside Wemby, because as great as he is as a center, he's also such a versatile player that if you can get him another guy to spell, a guy who can go side by side with him, because Wemby's so versatile, you can do so much with it, which is why Cooper Flag would have been perfect. But we'll see if we can try to trade up and make a move for Flag. But anyways, you want someone to play next to him, and Thomas Sorber could be that guy 100%. He would be perfect for that. Or two, a guy that we have talked about so much on this channel at some point trading for, because we've always had the assets for it, and we continue to have the assets for it, and it's trading for Cam Johnson, trading the 14th pick and getting a guy like Cam Johnson. Why? He slides in perfectly at that 3-4 position, who can just play, shoot, defend. He's obviously not a high-level defender, but he is a solid guy. He is 6'8". He knows how to play team concept defense well. And then offensively, he knows how to play off of space. He's an intelligent basketball player who can shoot incredibly well. He has been played in big moments, in big spots. He is a veteran. He's a guy who can go out and give you this kind of production: 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, about a steal a game, shooting 39% from 3, shooting about 44.8% on corner threes, and 54.6% of his shots are threes. Most of them are assisted on. So he's going to be a guy who already, especially in this offense, with a guy in De'Aaron Fox who's one of the best guys getting downhill in the league. It's been this guy, I cannot think of his name. He was talking with Jason Timpf on one of his podcasts. He was talking about Dylan Harper and how Dylan Harper's numbers getting downhill, getting to the basket, and finishing around the basket are like historic for a guard. Dylan Harper can get downhill and get to the basket at historic pace for a guard. So you have those two, and then we obviously saw what Stephon Castle did last year, how athletic he was, and he got a triple-double towards the end of last year. He was getting double-digit assist games. We saw how he was really forming as a passer, playing alongside Chris Paul will do that for you. But you get all three of those guys getting downhill, and you can dish it out to Wemby, you can lob it up to Wemby, or you could dish it out to Cam Johnson. You could dish it, Cam Johnson can make plays off of that too. Cam Johnson would be perfect. And within this trade, if the Spurs can pull it off, maybe they can move down to the 19 or the 22 with that pick, or with that trade with the Brooklyn Nets. They move down to 22. They might be able to even get someone like Sorber then. Sorber might fall at that point. We don't know, possibly. We obviously have to see how the drafts are. Some boards have him as high as 13, 14. Some boards have him falling as far as the early 20s. So we could get even Thomas Sorber then, get a big Cam Johnson, and get ourselves a great role player alongside of that. So we'll see what the Spurs are going to do this year in this year's draft. I think the perfect move would be trading it for Cam Johnson and getting the 22nd pick from Brooklyn, because you would be able to say trade Devin Vassell and the 14th pick and maybe something else, possibly if you add to like a couple second round picks. We've got plenty of them, and then get Cam Johnson and the 22nd pick. So you move contractually, you're fine, you move on from it. They get a guard and they get a better pick in this year's draft. They get a second lottery pick who they can maybe go get a guy like Cedric Coward or someone who has a lot of high potential, and then we get Cam Johnson, perfectly slide him in there, and then we get the 22nd pick in this year's draft, and we can add a big at that position to go alongside of Wemby, Cam Johnson, and then we move off of Vassell, we have our pieces, and then we already have the players that we need to fill in there. We don't even have to really touch free agency if we don't have to. But that is my opinion. That is my thoughts on it. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this as we are on draft day. The draft is only about 8 hours away, 7 hours away roughly. So I want to hear your thoughts on that. And guys, we'll be going live for the draft tonight, just as a little PSA. So if you guys are watching this now and you want to watch the draft with me, it's going to be live tonight. We're going to be going live roughly around the 8 o'clock start time. Might get there a little bit early to field some questions, talk about it, but I'd love to experience this draft with you. So if you want to come in and experience the draft with me, we can go live for this. We'll be talking about picks. Ask me Spurs questions. You can ask me picks about the draft. I've done a lot of drafts, other stuff with it too, so we can talk all about it. I appreciate all of you guys, but this has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. Appreciate all of you guys. I hope to see you guys tonight. If I don't see you guys tonight, I'll be seeing you guys again very soon.